Hey, what's up? My name is Pierce, and with me today I have Michael, and welcome to the Peter's Oblivious Opinions podcast, a podcast about anything entertaining, depending on how we're feeling and what we like. This includes movies, music, people, books, and saws, and so much more. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right onto today's episode. So today's episode, we took a look at the movie Commando for our battle bracket series. Commando is actually going to be facing off against Anaconda, which was our last episode, which is our third episode. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to that before you listen to this, because we're going to be going into it and reviewing the Commando movie to see which one wins between Anaconda and Commando. Yeah. Do you want to give us a quick, maybe summary of the plot, Michael?
Yes. Here, you know what? I'm just gonna read you some of what it says on IMDb.
Oh, okay.
Because they just nail it here. A retired special agent named John Matrix, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, led an elite unit and has left the armed forces to live in a secluded mountain home with his daughter Jenny. But now he is forced out of retirement when his daughter is kidnapped by a band of thugs intent on revenge. Unbeknownst to Matrix, the members of his former unit are being killed one by one. Even though Matrix's friend General Franklin Kirby gives Matrix armed guards, attackers manage to kidnap Matrix and Jenny. Matrix learns that Bennett, a former member of his Matrix unit, who is presumed dead, has kidnapped him to try to force Matrix to do a political assassination for a man called Arius, a warlord formerly bested by Matrix who wishes to lead a military coup in his home country. Since Arius will have Jenny killed if Matrix refuses, Matrix reluctantly accepts the demand. So, that was not as specific for the whole movie as I expected.
It sounded pretty intense to me.
It was, but let me just go on from here.
Okay.
So basically, Bennett, this is some guy that he kicked out of his unit in the army who was very, I guess, resentful about it. So then he was working with some guy from a South American country who used to be the president until Arnold overthrew him on one of his military jobs. Anyways, so they're working together to essentially force Arnold Schwarzenegger to kill the president of that country, or they would kill his daughter that they kidnapped. So, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger agrees, gets on a plane, and there's an 11-hour flight between where he's at and where the country of the president that he's going to kill. So anyways, so instantly he murders the guy who he's on the plane with, who is making sure that he got on the plane, and then covers him with a blanket and makes him seem like he's asleep. And then he sneaks out underneath the plane while it's taking off and jumps out of the... what are those wheel things called?
Just like the wheel well, I guess. I'm not really
Yeah, he goes through there and then dives into some random swamp that happens to be there right beside the airport.
Just wild. Anyway, we'll get into that after.
And then he basically spends the next 11 hours tracking down where his daughter is before they realize that he was never on the plane. And then he kind of kills them one by one as he tracks them down. And then he goes on a massive one-man assault onto a compound with over 100 guys that he just kills all of them. And that's pretty much it. Then he goes 1v1s his old friend Bennett, who was trying to kill his daughter. And then he kills him. The end.
Solid.
Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense to me. Yeah, no, it's a pretty intense movie. A lot of action, but also, I'm sure we'll get into it. It's kind of hilarious at the same time. It has a surprisingly decent rating on Rotten Tomatoes for being an 80s action movie.
I was very surprised. I was just expecting a 30.
Yeah, and I think it was at a 71%. So props on
pretty
them.
good.
Which category do you want to start off with?
Well, was that plot?
Yeah, I think you just explained the plot there, so maybe we can get into some plot things.
Let's get into the plot.
Okay. Now, the story of him trying to save his daughter, love it. Gives the character motivation, gives him, something to work towards and a reason why he's doing all these crazy things. For me, though, there was like a lot of cheesy 80s action movie like inconsistencies of like what a human can do in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if that counts in plot.
Definitely.
But like I mentioned.
It probably does.
Yeah. But like I mentioned, when he jumps out of the plane there is pretty wild. Because he jumps out as it's in the air, taking off, somehow managed to hit this tiny pond. He doesn't even land in deep water. He lands in shallow water and lives. And, like, I did some research before we started this podcast. So, I don't know what type of plane it was. Probably not a Boeing 747, but it was a super jet kind of like that. A Boeing 747 takes off at, according to flightdeckfriend.com, it takes off at 184 miles per hour, which is 296 kilometers an hour. So he was able to hang on, first of all, to that wheel hanging out of the plane at 296 miles per hour. It takes off, and he manages to aim into this shallow pond from, I don't know how high up they were, but it had to be at least like a building's height. Yeah, maybe even 2, into this like pond and just completely unscathed. Like, that is as classic 80s cheesy action movie as it gets. And as much as I think that's super enjoyable to watch, I think it does kind of discredit the plot a little bit doing stuff like that.
Oh, definitely. Honestly, nothing like this movie. It's like they established his relationship with his daughter at the start.
Yeah.
And then not much in between mattered.
Yeah.
It was like there were a ton of inconsistencies. But, it wasn't really a big deal because I don't think this movie is really about the plot.
No. No, I don't think so either. It's definitely not about the plot. It's about just watching, Arnold Schwarzenegger shirtless, doing a bunch of strength lifting things. And
oh yeah,
the plot accomplishes that well, whether he's throwing a phone booth around.
Oh yeah. He picks up a phone booth.
Yeah. Or he's just randomly ripping a chair out of a convertible, which doesn't benefit him in any way whatsoever, because I assume he was probably doing that. Like, the thinking and writing that was that he was doing it to be able to, like, duck down so that the guy doesn't see him, but he just ends up sitting at the same height as the girl who's driving the convertible there, Rae Dawn Chong's character.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the inconsistencies, because when they drive away, he's like a foot lower than she is.
Right.
And then in the next scene, they're at the same height.
Yeah. It's like, what?
So, yeah, I don't know. Also, I noticed that, actually my girlfriend noticed, but when they were in the mall, they like went in this massive fight. So basically, he was stalking one of the guys that was working with Bennett, who was his like enemy that was orchestrating this whole thing, and he got in this girl's car that the other guy was hitting on and annoying, and then was basically getting her to follow him around and drive Arnold Schwarzenegger behind this guy. And anyways, so then they follow him to a mall where he does some sort of deal, but he tries to get this girl to kind of like seduce him and lure him over somewhere so he can interrogate him, which now that I think about it, he was standing in the middle of the mall. So she was going to lure him right into the middle of public view.
Yeah.
But anyways, she ends up telling mall security instead, who actually, were they mall security? It literally just said special officer on their uniform, and they all had guns. So I was like, what kind of mall is this? But anyways, so he starts fighting like 20 mall security guards, and he's beating all of them up. And they eventually, like, the other guy figures out that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not on the plane, so then he starts panicking and running away.
Right.
But after he leaves and follows him around, like, no police follow him at all.
That's true.
And then, like, for the rest of the movie, until they, like, break into a store, like, 30 minutes later, there's no cops at all.
That's so true. That's weird.
So that was a little bit...
Maybe the mall security was pretty embarrassed because they have the tightest security in the country. That's why they all have guns. And there's like 50 of them.
Could be, yeah. And they didn't even shoot him.
No. Yeah.
That one guy was going to, but then his new friend pushed him down the stairs.
After telling on him.
Yeah. That was a little bit weird. And then he immediately forgave her.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I also found that, that was really weird. And you brought up a good point there with, like, nobody shot at him. Because, like, in any scene where people could shoot at him in, like, a close combat situation, they just sat there and watched him beat up their friends before him turning around and beating them up. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was a little bit weird.
Yeah. Like, I don't know about you, like, and it's, like, not even like their friends are in the way either. Like, he's in the clear open. Everybody has rifles pointed at him. They all want him dead because he's obviously not doing what they told him to do. And they just watch him beat everybody up.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird.
Yeah. But I think, like, I don't think we're able to address this anywhere else. So I think we should address this as a plot. The one-liners in this movie are unreally good.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So good. So good. What's your favorite one?
Oh, definitely. Okay, definitely. I'll just explain the whole thing.
Okay.
So there's this guy who is, like, kind of a doofus that's, like, really annoying. Like, it's just really annoying. But he's, like, kind of like the funny guy. And Arnold's like, you're a funny guy. I will kill you last. So then, anyways, so he says that earlier on in the movie. And then this is the guy that he was following to the mall. Anyways, so then they both are out of the mall. And he's chasing him behind his car. And the other guy's fleeing. And he's, like, fleeing up a mountain for some reason. I don't know if it's, like, in California or something. There's some mountains. Weird. But anyway, so he starts driving up there, and Arnold's following him, and then he manages to, like, ram him and flip his car over.
Okay.
And he, like, starts interrogating the guy to find out where his daughter is, and he ends up holding him by the foot over the edge of the cliff. And then the guy tells him, or, you know, he figures out where he needs to go. And then he's like, remember when I promised to kill you last? I lied. And it just drops him, and he just, like, falls down. So and then he dies, and then he goes back to the car, and the girl he's with is like, what'd you do with Sully? And he's like, I let him go.
So funny.
It's like one of the best one-liners. Oh my God.
I lied.
I lied.
That's so funny.
What about you?
Me, I have to go with the classic one that I'm pretty sure if anybody's watched Commando that you probably remember it. It's when that final boss fight there with Bennett, and he, like, shoves him into, like, this pipe, or, like, shoves a pipe through him with steam coming out of it, and he goes, let off some steam, Bennett. It's just so funny. Like,
that is amazing.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about the one-liners. They're so funny. And we were reading a little bit of the IMDb page before we started recording this, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that there's in the what is it, trivia section, that there's actually a one-liner that they cut out of this movie. Um, So, and I think this would personally be my favorite one-liner if it was in the movie and did get, or did, I guess it never was shot, it says here, but if it did get shot, it was in the movie, it'd be so funny. So essentially, he cuts off a soldier's arm while he's infiltrating this base or whatever near that like end fight. And originally in the script, like he doesn't do this in the movie, he just cuts it off and keeps going. But originally in the script, he was supposed to cut it off, grab the hand, and hit the victim with the hand, and say, "Need a hand," which is so funny.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently it was too macabre, which understandable, but would be so funny. So funny.
Yeah, the one I also love, like there's the one he kills the guy on the plane and makes him pretend like he pretends he's like sleeping.
Yeah.
And then he goes up to the stewardess or whatever, and he's like, or the flight attendant, and he's like, "Please don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired."
I don't know what it is. These one-liners, they're like pretty dry, but just coming from Arnold Schwarzenegger is so funny.
Yeah, and he's like so deadpan when he says it too.
Yeah. I also read on this IMDb page, we might have never gotten those one-liners, right? Because apparently, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was originally not supposed to speak in the movie, but that changed, I guess, at some point, because he does speak, and that's one of the best parts of the movies.
How could he not speak the entire movie?
I don't know.
That would be pretty scary.
Yeah. That'd be like, it would be weird watching a movie where he's just walking around like beating people up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they gave him some lines. Oh, I love the one at the end where the general's like, "You should come back and work for the army," or whatever.
Yeah.
And he looks back as he's walking away. He's like, "No chance."
No chance.
No, not a chance. Yeah.
Another funny one-liner I kind of liked that actually doesn't come from Arnold Schwarzenegger. It comes from Cindy, which is that girl that he, you know, kind of steals the convertible of, and she ends up helping him throughout the film.
Oh yeah.
She actually breaks him out of a police like paddy wagon, I guess he's in. I'm not really sure what type of truck that was, like maybe just like a box truck, I don't know. But like essentially Arnold Schwarzenegger got arrested while they were getting weapons from this, you know, warehouse. I believe it was actually a plane fueling warehouse, right? I think that's what it was, with plane fuel. Anyway, he gets arrested there by the police, which is when the police show up again after that mall part, which is a long time afterwards. And they end up picking up a rocket launcher there, and she's like breaks him out by shooting this truck with a rocket launcher after shooting backwards and blowing up something behind her on the street. And Arnold Schwarzenegger's character there, he comes up to her and he's like, "How did you learn how to use that?" And she goes, "I read the instructions." And I just thought that was really, really funny. I don't know why. Like, you can learn to use a rocket launcher by reading the instructions in a couple of minutes. It's just so funny.
Yeah, and you just know there's no way that Arnold Schwarzenegger grabbed the instructions.
Yeah, no.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should rate the plot.
Okay, I'm having too much fun talking about this.
There's just so much to talk about.
So much. It's just such a good movie. You should watch it if you haven't already. Okay. Oh, man, plot. Well, plot is definitely not one of the strong points in this movie, but I want to count the one-liners in there. They accomplished their goal, but it's not like a great plot. I think I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5.
All right. Yeah, I was going to give it a 3.2. I was originally going to give it a 3, but those one-liners just brought it up to 3.2. Plus, like, the plot was like decent. Oh, I also want to give a shout out to the. Actually, we're going to talk about this in cinematography. Okay. Never mind. You want to go to actors?
Sure, let's do actors.
All right.
So, in case you're listening to this instead of any of the other podcasts first, we with our actors, we actually make a list from S to F, S being the highest, F being the lowest, for how the actors did in the movie. So yeah, I might as well start out with our titular star here. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Colonel John Matrix.
Colonel. I love how his name is Matrix.
Yeah.
Like, it's so just what the hell.
Yeah.
But it's so funny.
So funny. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's like not a terrific actor, but in an action movie, he fits the role so well. So well. He's just big, ripped, looks like he doesn't care, and he gives that deadpan delivery of all of his lines all the time, which is perfect.
Yeah, he definitely nails his role.
Yeah.
I do think some of the dialogue writing in this movie, though, was terrible.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think he's actually I think he's a better actor than this movie makes it seem like he is.
True. What's that movie he's in? It's like a zombie movie. He's like really, really good in it. I'm gonna take a quick look here, see if I can find it. Pardon?
Is it recent?
Fairly recent, I think. I'm just gonna take a quick look here, see if I can find it on his Wikipedia
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, apparently it's really, really good. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger filmography. Maggie, it's called. I don't know. Apparently it's really, really good. It's about let me just see the plot here. I think it's about his daughter who gets bitten or something. She's turning into a zombie. Yeah, and he has to decide whether he's going to euthanize her or not. That kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently it's like super emotional. He like shows off some pretty amazing acting chops, which is not consistent through the rest of his career. But like apparently it's like really, really good. So maybe we want to watch that one day once we're done this.
Totally.
Yeah. Anyway, I got a little off track there.
That's all right.
Grading is
anyways, I mean, in terms of his acting, we covered his one-liners at this point.
Yeah.
Which
terrific.
He's like, yeah, he does a good job of being like a comedic kind of action guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But he actually does like seem pretty scary if you were gonna like fight him.
Oh,
like if he was coming after, like he definitely seemed determined throughout the movie, which is like his only emotion in the movie.
Yeah. I agree. He does a good job of fitting the emotion, but he also at the start when he's with his daughter and they're showing how happy he is with his daughter, that feels like some genuine happiness at the start, and I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, that's true. I actually noticed that too.
Yeah.
He did pretty well. That was the only, like, that's one of, like, the two opportunities in the movie he had a chance to act without using one-liners.
Yeah, it's true. And he did a good job of it. Like,
yeah, he did a good
job. I'm trying to decide what I want to give him. I don't think I want to give him an S. I don't think he did that good of a job in this movie. But I'm struggling somewhere between an A and a B. Maybe I split it right down the middle. I'll give him a B+.
I am going to give him an S.
Ho!
Because I think he played this role perfectly.
That's solid.
Yeah.
I you know what? I think you did a good job in the role too. I just, know nothing really about acting, and I guess, well, I don't guess. I definitely mix up, writing with how they're acting. So
That's fair. And you know what? This puts him on the same level as Steve Buscemi,
which is fair.
which so I feel like these scales are really relative to the movie they're in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I think he did a better job in this role than Steve Buscemi would. But I would love to see Steve Buscemi in this role.
Steve Buscemi in this role would be so funny.
The speed, and I would want all the costumes to be the same, like the Speedo, everything.
Can you imagine Steve Buscemi? And it's like a shot-for-shot recreation of the movie with Steve Buscemi as Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he's like, you just see Steve Buscemi holding a guy over a cliff.
Yeah,
Flipping
that
a
would
phone
be
booth.
Oh yeah, flipping a phone booth, gets tackled, or carrying an entire tree.
Yeah. And can you imagine him trying to give a deadpan delivery? Because Steve Buscemi, like, his voice fluctuates when he talks a lot. Like, he gives a lot of expression when he talks. So can you imagine him trying to give, like,
Yeah.
a deadpan delivery of a one-liner?
Oh yeah, he'd be like, "Let off some steam, Bennett."
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so funny. I would.
Remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
I lied.
I lied.
And then he would give like a little shrug as he drops the guy.
Yeah. He'd find his way onto the island or whatever, and he'd be like infiltrating it, and he'd be like, "Hello, fellow henchmen."
That'd be so funny. I'm laughing too hard. I'm coughing. Now,
that would be amazing to see.
Yeah. Now I know we have, we shout out our one consistent viewer in our last episode. Now, for one consistent viewer, if you want to start a petition to get a remake of Commando, Steve Buscemi as Colonel John Matrix, that'd be ideal.
Oh yeah, I would sign that. That would get at least 3 signatures.
3 signatures. Me, you, and the person who made it.
Yeah, and if that's not enough, we'll get more.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will go door to door and get signatures on this.
I will go door to door with the movie, sit down, watch the entire movie with each household that I visit, and then get them to sign it. And if they don't know who Steve Buscemi is, then we'll also watch Con Air.
Fair. That's a fair move. But I feel like you need to get a good range of Steve Buscemi's skills. So maybe you watch Con Air and then as well The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah, we'll just watch a bunch of Steve Buscemi movies.
Yeah, I think that's the move.
Yep. Okay.
This is the sidetrack episode.
Yes. We were going to talk about nothing but not the movie. That was an awkward way to phrase that, but I don't care.
Nothing
All right.
but the movie.
Yeah. Who should we move on to next?
So next, I'm just going to go on the list on Wikipedia here. Next, we have Rae Dawn Chong as Cindy, who's kind of like that main girl in the movie who he basically hijacks her convertible and drags her on this mission with him.
Yeah.
She's also a pilot. Flies a plane at one point. Pretty cool.
Yes. Also, apparently, there was a love scene between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rae Dawn Chong, and it was deleted from the movie because it was not convincing enough. And that is so hilarious because I could totally picture exactly what that scene looked like.
Absolutely.
And how unconvincing it was.
Yeah. If it's anything like Arnold Schwarzenegger's delivery of those one-liners, I can absolutely picture it.
Oh yeah, I would love for him to just say random one-liners throughout the scene.
blow off some steam. Get it?
Yeah.
Just recycled one-liners.
Yeah, it just like says them all.
I figured out why they didn't use that need a hand one-liner. It was the same. They both got cut for that reason. It was the same scene.
Need a hand.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Anyways,
I'm not in a good condition right now to be talking. I can't stop laughing.
that's okay. I'll handle this. So, Rae Dawn Chong. Actually, you know what? She did a good job, and she was pretty convincing as someone that was kind of. I guess she was like kind of technically kidnapped, but not really.
Yeah.
But she was clearly like, she did a good job being annoyed with that other guy, the short guy.
Yeah.
And then just having overall panic throughout.
Yep.
But then she also seemed to have like no fear at all.
No.
So that was a little bit odd to me.
It was a little weird. She didn't seem scared in scenes that she should have been scared in.
You know? I know.
Like when
Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's some random guy you'd never seen that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The first thing he does is come up behind you and like be like shh, and then like immediately after rips an entire seat out of your vehicle, and he's like 8 feet tall, like
yeah. And then he says,
scary.
"Follow the creeper that was just creeping on you," and you're like, "I knew you'd say that."
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be more terrified than annoyed at that point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Or like when they have that fight in the motel or whatever it is, the hotel there, and she's like hiding behind the counter. I didn't get that, primal fear feeling from her of this like gunshots and fights going on. You know what I mean?
Oh, she was making jokes the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not really jokes, but she was saying things that were like comic relief, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. And it wasn't really like a I'm terrified for my life situation. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like I wasn't convinced of that from her.
Yeah, that's true. It did seem kind of odd. I mean, it could have been the writing. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we also don't know.
Again, I mixed up the writing.
Actually, the truth is said that scene was ad-libbed.
Was it really?
That part where, and apparently it wasn't filmed at the same time or something.
So that might explain why she's not scared, because she doesn't even know what she's supposed to be like hiding from. She's just like,
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little bit unconvincing to me. It just seemed like a weird acting choice.
I agree.
But other than that,
yeah,
she did a decent job.
I do have something extra I want to say about her acting, but I want you to give your rating first if you're ready to about her.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her a B+.
Solid. Okay, now she does in the same year appear in one of my one of my favorite movies in my probably top 20. I don't know. I don't keep a track. But I love this movie called American Flyers, and I'm pretty sure it was a box office bomb, but I think she's really good in that movie, and just for that reason, I bumped her up from a B to an A.
All right, fair enough. I think that's fair.
Yeah, because we're completely, unbiased and very, very objective in our rating system here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. I say we do 2 more unless you have any you want to add after that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the next one's Alyssa Milano as Jenny Matrix. So that's his kid.
Yeah.
Now, Alyssa Milano is a super famous actress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was this her first movie?
Oh, I have no idea. Could be, though. She was really young.
Yeah, it's her second movie. She was in a movie called Old Enough the year before, but I feel like this one is probably the one that gave her the most, boost to her fame.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Now, she does a pretty good job, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
As a child actress, like, I'm convinced that Arnold's her dad. Like, and I don't know if that's Arnold Schwarzenegger or her, but I'm also, I felt her fear throughout the movie. I also, I appreciate, like, her. I feel like what they're trying to convey in the movie is that she's learning a lot from her dad and how he acts himself, and that's why when she escapes at the end there and everything, it's all her being, like, scared but calm and collected. And I think she did a really good job of portraying that myself.
Yeah.
I was convinced.
She was, like, scared but taking action at the same time.
Yeah. Plus, those opening scenes of her hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger are golden, in my opinion.
Yeah, those were amazing. Yeah. That was, like, the best. That's what I was saving for cinematography, so we can get to that.
Okay. Yeah, no. Just like I felt like the acting in those scenes, just to not to spoil anything that you're going to say about cinematography, the acting itself. Sorry, I felt like there was a lot of chemistry between her and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I feel like, that's because here on the IMDb page, it says that apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger was very protective of her on set and helped her with her algebra homework. So maybe there was a pretty good connection there to begin with. And I felt like in that scene they really played off each other well, and their acting was really good, and you could feel that connection between them.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, like, objectively speaking, I feel like in this movie, she could possibly be or have done the best acting job out of everyone.
Yeah. I agree. I think she did a really good job.
Yeah, like, I don't even have a thing I can think of that was, like, seemed weird to me. She seemed to, like, play a role exactly like she should have.
Yeah.
And her character made sense. So, I don't really know what else to say, honestly.
Me neither. All I'm going to say is I'm giving her an S.
Yeah, I kind of realized I already gave Arnold Schwarzenegger an S, so I'm gonna give her an S plus.
Ho! Pulling out an S plus. This is wild.
I didn't even know it was an option, but now out of necessity, it had to be.
It is now. It's changed the whole game.
That puts her above Steve Buscemi now.
Oh,
okay.
Bold claims.
All right. So
next up, we have our self-described, ready? Freddie Mercury on steroids of the movie. Self-described by Vernon Wells himself, playing Captain Bennett.
Captain Bennett.
Oh my gosh.
How could he be a captain of anything? That guy was crazy.
He's insane. Plus, like, I don't know. I feel like the casting choice for this was questionable.
Yeah,
okay, because, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger and him had this big battle at the end, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's big, ripped guy. And Vernon Wells, I don't know. To me, he just kind of seems exactly as he describes himself, as Freddie Mercury on steroids, except he also kind of has a beer belly.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Freddie Mercury on steroids. I would say Freddie Mercury in his, like, going on 50s.
Yeah.
And he hasn't exercised for a while.
Yeah. And somehow he goes toe-to-toe with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's just, I don't know.
He's supposed to go toe-to-toe with him in a knife fight.
Yeah. I found it a little unconvincing just for that reason.
Yeah.
Plus, he also almost seems creepy more than he does, big, tough, scary, strong guy, which I feel like was what they wanted, big, tough, scary, strong guy out of it.
Yeah, he was more of like a psycho, but not really. Like,
yeah. It was really weird.
It was a really weird choice. I want to point out his acting at the very end.
Okay.
uh, when they're fighting,
Okay.
him and Arnold. Like, first of all, when they're grappling, the close up on his face with his eyes, he
Yeah.
like opens his eyes so wide, and you see like the whites of his eyes, and he's like, just like going like,
Yeah. He's
he's
like
like
gritting his
grunting.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
So funny. It's really, really funny. Uh, so yeah, it's funny. Um, I don't know. Like I feel like that's as much of his acting could have really been shown, in my opinion. Other than that, I felt like nothing really stood out for me. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, he was just like, he was so funny, and like he was just so comedic
Yeah.
the way he was acted. And if he's supposed to be a big, scary, tough guy, I did not feel any like fear of him at all.
Yeah, me neither. I'm nothing like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what? I'm very not, ripped or in shape, and I felt like I could take on, Bennett.
Oh, me too. I would have a solid chance against Bennett
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it would be a close fight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also want to shout out. I don't know if it's not really related to acting, but
Okay,
kind of. But in the middle of that fight,
yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger pushes him into like, I don't know what it is, some electric thing
yeah,
where he starts screaming and he's literally electrocuted,
yeah,
and it's like there's sparks flying everywhere. He's probably got like 100,000 volts going through his body,
yeah,
and he just like comes off of it completely fine, and then goes into a swing of his knife, and they keep fighting.
yeah.
I'm like, how could he ever survive that?
There's no way. I also think he like punches Arnold Schwarzenegger in the nuts coming off of that. I think too.
Or does he?
Yeah, it's like how?
I know, it's just like completely fine.
You know,
So
I know
funny.
something else wild about about that that scene.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's that scene, but I feel like it probably is because all it says on IMDb is after filming one scene, Arnold Schwarzenegger told Mark L. Lester to never give Vernon Wells a real knife. Like what could have happened?
Yeah, who knows? He did seem a little bit invested into that. And another thing I want to know, because they fired the previous actor
Okay.
and hired him instead on the first day of filming.
Okay.
I want to know who was worse than Bennett, that actor.
Yeah, how can it get how could he have been worse? It was
I really don't know.
yeah, it was
But
Wiggs Hauser was the other actor, I think.
I don't even know who that is.
Neither do I. Oh man. Okay, well I think I'm ready to rate him.
Yeah, me too.
Now, I don't want to specifically blame Vernon Wells for this rating. I think he did the best with the role that he was given. Um, it's just they casted it really wrong, and he came off as weird and creepy rather than intimidating and scary.
Yeah.
So I gave him a D, not an F, because I don't think he failed. I think he did good for what he had.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to give him a C. I think it's like one of those situations where the actor really commits to a character choice that it doesn't make sense at all. I mean, he was crazy in the movie, but just was not on the same level as Arnold Schwarzenegger at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. All right, so I don't know if you have any other actors you want to point out here, but that's the four main ones that I
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't have any.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll give our ratings here. Now, this movie as a whole, I feel like wasn't exceptionally acted compared to other movies we were, maybe watching. I feel like it was better than Anaconda. So I think I give it pretty middle of the road. I think I'm going to give it a 2.7 out of 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a... I'm going to give it a 2 point... Actually, I'm going to give it a 3.1.
Solid.
Bump it up because of...
the S+.
The Alyssa Milano, she did a really good job.
Yeah.
So she kind of carried the team a bit. And what was yours, 2.7?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to talk about the soundtrack next?
Okay, let's talk about this soundtrack. This is one of the few movies, like, the soundtrack, questionable, but this is one of the few movies that I actually, like, could hear and pay attention to the soundtrack through the whole movie. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was wild. It's like as 80s as you can get for an 80s, action movie. Like, you got those, like, drums with reverb in the background. You got saxophone in there. You've got just, like, synth galore. It's pretty wild.
Oh, it was... and you know what? I forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, you can continue.
Okay, I don't know what I was going to say, but I'm reading here actually that it had a prominent use of steel drums.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's so... That was so weird.
Yeah. It was pretty...
But honestly, I can remember the soundtrack, and it fits the movie so well.
Fits the movie so well.
But it's like, the movie's like an action comedy, essentially.
Yeah.
But not explicitly a comedy, but just the way it is made is comedic. And this song was like so comedically 80s.
So comedically 80s. It was hilarious. I loved it. The critics, we're not professional critics. The critics here, as I can see, they gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't know if I'm going to give it, a 2 out of 5. But
what?
It was panned. I have no idea why.
That's just unethical, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, honestly, there's not much to talk about the soundtrack, because it's like there's 2 songs in the soundtrack.
Yeah. It's like, they're very consistent. They move along together very well. They accent the scenes well. I also felt like it took a lot of creative liberties in the soundtrack with those steel drums and a lot of the... I don't know, I felt like it had a lot of that 80s alternative vibe to it, even though it was an action movie soundtrack, and I feel like it was really good.
Yeah, it fit the movie perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though it was a kind of bizarre, it fit the movie perfectly. So, yeah. There's not much more to say, honestly.
No.
But I do recommend giving that a listen.
Yeah, me too. I think it's pretty good.
And, yeah. No, that's it. I don't have anything to add.
I don't have anything else to add either. I'm giving it a 4.1 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 4.2 out of 5.
Oh, upstaging me, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
The soundtrack was great.
It was terrific. I loved it. It was amazing. I don't know what All Music is doing here, giving it a 2 out of 5, but
yeah,
they clearly know so much more about movie soundtracks than All Music.
Definitely.
Absolutely. That's why our opinions are oblivious.
True.
All right. Are you wanting to save cinematography for last?
Sure. Do you want to go to costume design next?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Oh, this costume design. Interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger's long sleeve V-neck button shirt that was green.
I loved that outfit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he looks good in green. I like the V-neck.
I thought
And
it
you
looked,
could...
yeah, no, I thought it looked good too, but having it long sleeved made it look a little weird on such a muscular guy to me.
Oh, I didn't even notice it was long sleeved.
Was it? I feel like it was long sleeve. I don't know. I got
No, you're probably right.
it.
That's interesting to have a long sleeve V-neck.
Yeah, it was really weird. I'm looking it up though, just to make sure I'm not wrong with this. It was so weird though. I don't know. I felt like it fit him weird. Uh, so all these pictures are of him shirtless.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, it's not long sleeve. It's like down to his elbows.
Okay, so it's like kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I still felt like it fit, like it looked good on him, but fit him weird for being a big muscular guy, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't really notice, honestly.
Fair.
But
Fair.
it seemed like kind of a casual kind of outfit.
Yeah. True. Very true. Now, there's one scene in particular where the costume is spot on. Do you know what scene I might be referencing?
The one where he's in the raft?
Absolutely yes. How do you feel about that costume?
Okay, well, I mean, basically, they land this water plane outside this island where he's about to attack, and it's like the compound with all these guys, and then he's basically rowing all his weapons and gear to the island while he's wearing a black Speedo.
Yeah. and and he's super oiled up, I feel like, too.
Oh, definitely. He's like showing off every single muscle that he has on his body.
Yeah.
Well, and when he's rowing the boat, he's like flexing his pec.
Yeah.
So he looks even more buff.
But like, I can't blame them. You get the most ripped guy in the world in your movie. You got to show off his muscles, right?
Oh yeah. But I did it. Now that I think about it, it seems kind of. I mean, they obviously did it to show off his muscles.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, instead of putting on all his gear and then rowing to the island, he rowed to the island in a Speedo, and then when he was on the island, started putting on his gear.
That's true. That's really weird.
And I feel like, could you, like, what if Navy SEALs, like, rafted to an island where their target was, wearing Speedos, and then they started getting their gear on once they landed?
Yeah, that'd be really weird. So
maybe it's what they do. I have no idea. I'm oblivious, but it seems kind of weird to me.
Seems weird too. Another thing that seemed weird to me with the costume design was when he gets shot and he takes off his vest and then just leaves it off. I was like, yeah, like I know Arnie shirtless, but that's not ideal.
Oh yeah, he takes his vest off. He's like, oh, because he just got blown up by a grenade.
Yeah.
And then it shows no sign of injury for the rest of the movie until he gets like shot in the arm.
Yeah. Weird. Really weird. Now, okay, so we agree that the Speedo scene is great, right? But
oh yeah,
makes no sense, but is great. There's one costume that is, I think it's probably the worst costume I've ever seen in a movie. Can you take a guess of what I'm talking about?
Is it Bennett's chainmail?
Yes. What is that? He looks.
Yeah, why is he wearing chainmail?
Yeah, he looks like he's coming from like a medieval convention. Plus, he's in like a tank top after that chainmail. Like, if you're so concerned about getting stabbed there, why would you not cover your arms? I don't understand.
And he's so tight that it's like he's wearing chainmail, but you can see his belly through the chainmail.
And you know the reason for that was on IMDb, it says the reason for that is because that previous actor they made Wings Hauser, they made all the stuff for him, but he was much thinner than Vernon Wells, and so when Vernon Wells put it on, it was just all super tight because they didn't have time to make a new costume. Oh, it's so bad. Plus, he has that like weird chain necklace dog tags as well that he just wears the whole time. Looks really weird too. I don't know if we should include mustaches in, costume design, but that mustache isn't doing him any favors either, in my opinion.
Or, that's got to be included in costume design, and it was so bizarre.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, why? Why is this his costume? He looks like...
Why do you have a handlebar mustache? Yeah, I want to look up a picture of him.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and you know what he looks like? He looks like a medieval biker.
He really does.
Medieval biker.
He's like not threatening at all.
No, it's not.
Why is he wearing chainmail? I can't tell if it's chainmail or it's just like a mesh shirt. But either way,
it's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I'm just gonna say it's chainmail.
I'm saying it's chainmail too. It does kind of look more like a mesh shirt to me now, but I'm happy believing that it's chainmail.
Yeah, it's wearing chainmail. I just love how it's tight enough that it shows his belly through it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So funny. Is he wearing tight leather pants too?
Oh, I hope so. I need a full body picture.
I think he is. I think I see, like, there's a full body picture I have here, but it's like an action scene. Here, I'll send it into the Discord.
Okay.
Those look like leather pants to me. What do they look like to you? I don't know if this is coming through or not.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Oh, it's loading. What is that picture?
I don't know.
Okay.
Doesn't that look like tight leather?
I don't know. I don't know. Definitely not jeans. I think it might be like slacks or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Holy macaroni, this costume is so bad, though.
But he does look like a villain.
He does. I mean,
not a
he
threatening
himself
villain.
doesn't, but...
He looks like the kid from high school everyone avoids.
He does.
But yeah. And honestly, the outfit is as outrageous as the character itself.
It's true. And the outfit's also super unflattering.
Oh, it looks terrible on him.
Yeah.
Makes him look like he hasn't exercised in 15 years.
It really does. His arms do not look good coming out of that.
No.
And I feel like he's not like that bad of a looking guy. Like, I feel like this costume is a big reason why he has this kind of weird look.
Yeah, maybe his acting choices were just spawned from his costume.
Maybe. He was given that costume and he's like, all right, I guess I know what to do.
He's like, I know what character this is.
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know. That's definitely going to take off a lot of points on my costume design rating right there. You want your villain to look, I don't know, menacing, and this doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, Bennett's definitely dragging down this score.
Yeah. Do you have any other comments on any other costumes, or on this one maybe?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think everything else is pretty standard.
Yeah, everything else was pretty standard.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I'm contemplating giving this a failing grade just for Bennett's costume. Oh, it's so bad, and everything else is just so standard, so I don't want to give it anything exceptional.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger looks amazing. So it's like weird, it's like offsetting absolutely terrible Bennett costume with amazing Arnold costumes.
That's very true. Maybe that's an artistic choice. They want Bennett to seem much less good than Arnold Schwarzenegger. Excuse my English.
Could be.
Could be.
I doubt it, but it could be.
You know what? Just for that, I'm not going to give it a failing grade, and I am going to give it a 2.5 exactly.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
It's like right. You said 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right there in the middle for me.
Yeah.
You
know what? I forgot about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Speedo, so I'm actually going to bump it up to 2.7.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm just so distracted by how bad this outfit is.
It's just comic relief through the entire movie.
It's true. It's so true. And this movie, like, I'm solidly giving this costume design like a 3.5 if it isn't for this one particular costume.
Single-handedly bringing it down 0.8.
Yeah.
Honestly, not even unreasonable.
No.
But it's just so funny though.
So funny. Like, if you haven't seen like this costume, look it up right now. It is
Commando.
Yeah. So
and just see his face.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So bad.
We should probably move on here.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm getting sidetracked.
That's not cool. Okay, let's go to cinematography.
Okay.
So I want to start this off. This movie's cinematography is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so 80s and just like it's like they basically, instead of using cinematography to tell the story of the movie,
right,
they manipulated every shot possible to show off Arnold Schwarzenegger's muscles as often as possible.
To be honest, yeah.
And it begins with some introductory stuff, but once you see Arnold Schwarzenegger for the first time, it starts playing this badass Commando soundtrack.
Yeah.
That is just amazing.
Yeah.
And then it shows zooming in on his boots, his like combat boots, as he's like walking somewhere, and then it like zooms in on his muscles, but it's not like it doesn't show him fully, it just shows like zoomed in body parts.
Yeah.
So it like shows zoomed in boots, then zoomed in biceps, and then like zoomed in boots again, and then it shows a zoomed in chainsaw. And then it like zooms out to show him carrying a chainsaw in one hand while he's like shirtless.
Yeah.
And he's carrying an entire tree on top of his shoulder in the other hand. And like, this is like such a badass introduction to a character.
So badass, yeah. Plus, like, the other cool thing about that start too is when he's like looking in the axe, and they do a good job of seeing that he sees something in the reflection of the axe, and you think he's gonna get attacked. And like, it's a legitimately, like, I think the cinematography does it. It's legitimately shocking when he turns around. It's actually his daughter there, and he like grabs her and hugs her. Like, that's very well shot. I felt like.
Oh yeah, they like, for one of the first times out of all these movies, they use cinematography to like actually tell a part of it, like a story, kind of.
Absolutely.
A part of a scene.
Absolutely. And there's like some difficult scenes with cinematography that they get through. Like, you know, I was reading, I think it was on IMDb, that like when he's jumping off of that plane thing, like they needed a shot of him on the wheel of the plane.
Yeah.
And like apparently he was on a truck or something. They were shooting from a truck. It was like, I don't know. I read a whole thing about how complicated that take was, and that the cinematography pulled it off well. I was convinced that he was on a plane.
Oh, it totally looks like that.
Yeah.
And when he's holding the guy over the cliff,
yeah,
totally looks real.
Yeah. Now, do you want to know something hilarious about him holding the guy over the cliff?
Yes.
Okay. So he's holding the guy over the cliff, right? Sully's his name, right?
Mm.
I think. So yeah, he's holding Sully over the cliff, and Mark L. Lester, who I believe is is the director of the movie. Yeah, he's the director of the movie. He wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger himself to dangle the actor David Patrick Kelly over the edge of the cliff without any help, just holding him over the cliff with his arm strength, pure brute arm strength, as per like IMDb. And Arnold just looked at him and he's like, you know what, you're insane. You're like, are you crazy? And they used a crane to hang him instead. And they did a good job of making it seem like it was actually Arnold doing it.
Oh, it totally. I would never have guessed that it wasn't him holding him.
Yeah, me neither. I never would look at that scene and be like, oh wow, a crane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally not noticeable.
Not noticeable at all. And plus, there's some beautiful shots in this movie as well, especially when they fly to that island and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and also the beginning part when he's like having this compilation of different shots with him and his daughter doing different activities to kind of establish their relationship.
Yeah.
It's like so unbelievably cheesy.
Yeah.
But it did a good job. I mean, how else are you going to show their relationship or whatever? It's like,
it's good. Like, they do a good job of most things to show it, but they do it well and effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Who is the cinematographer on this film?
I don't know. I actually think they did a really good job now that I'm thinking about it.
So do I. Like, I think they did an amazing job.
They got up close in the fight scene with him and Bennett.
Yeah. It's really good. Or like that zoomed out scene where you see all those guys running at the camp. They're running out to start shooting at Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's really cool as well.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So his name is Matthew Frank Leonetti. And he has worked in dozens of well-known films, according to Wikipedia, such as, Poltergeist, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Weird Science, Star Trek First Contact. Those are really the main ones that I see here that I recognize. He did Mortal Kombat, Annihilation, Too Fast, Too Furious, Dawn of the Dead from 2004.
Oh, he did Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. He also did The Three Stooges and Hall Pass.
That is such an interesting list of movies in his portfolio.
It's wild. It's like he transitioned from doing like action movies, kind of, even though Fast Times at Ridgemont High is in the start, and Weird Science, but it's almost like he transitioned from that to doing almost purely like comedy movies, because he also did Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. I think he does a really good job.
Oh, yeah, he does. I think the cinematography is actually really good in this movie, and it told the story really well.
Yeah, I agree.
And showed Arnold Schwarzenegger's muscles. Basically, it made him look like a badass.
Yeah, it did. It showed everything very, very effectively. I feel like it was super well done.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say about the cinematography. I don't know if you do.
Me neither. No, I'm good.
I'm ready to rate this now.
All right. What's your rating?
My rating? Now, I'm struggling between if I want it above 4.5 or below 4.5. What'd I give? Do you know what I gave Con Air for cinematography?
It says you gave it 4.3.
4.3. I'm a really big fan of Con Air cinematography, but I think this is better, so I'm going to give it a 4.7 out of 5.
Woo! Damn. That might be the highest rating of a category. Oh, no. You gave Anaconda a 4.7 on general experience.
That movie is so fun to watch.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 4. You know what? I'm going to give it a 4.6.
Okay. Solid.
So, yeah, this, it was just really well done.
Really well done. I think it makes the movie because, this might be why it has such a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, because if you think about it, the plot's not terrific, the actors are questionable but good, you know what I mean? Sorry, the writing is questionable as well, but cinematography,
Yeah,
I feel like, really makes up for the rest.
it definitely does.
Yeah.
The production value of the movie is just really good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so
Donnie.
Donnie.
I don't have anything to go with Donnie here. I don't know if you do.
I have absolutely nothing.
I have nothing.
I don't want him to take a 0.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna Google Commando and Donnie
Okay.
and see what pops up.
Seeing anything?
Oh, what is this? There was a production sound mixer named Dawn. And there was a re-recording mixer also named Dawn.
Okay.
But actually, Rae Dawn Chong, her middle name is a different Dawn, but sounds kind of like it.
Kind of sounds like Dawn, and then you just add an E in there, you know?
Yeah. Oh, there's a guy, the El Presidente guy. His name's Dan.
Dan. Oh. Okay, so that's 4 instances of Dawn, and Dan.
Okay.
You know, I think
that's about the best we can do it with this, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I'm going to give it 0.05 points per Dawn and 0.02 points per Dan. Okay, so that's
okay
0.17 points out of 5 for Donnie for me.
Okay, totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 0.04.
Okay.
Because it was a stretch.
That's a big stretch.
I'm going to admit this was a pretty big stretch. This is the biggest stretch we've had so far.
It's true, and I still gave it a higher rating than Anaconda's Donnie.
Oh, okay. So the final one. General experience.
Now, I know that you're a pretty big fan of this movie. Are you going to give it a pretty good general experience rating?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well,
I'm going to give it a 4.8.
4.8. Ho. What makes you enjoy this movie so much?
Honestly, it's funny. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's only an hour and a half, so it's exactly as long as it should be.
Perfect length, yeah.
And it's really like non-stop action, essentially, which it seems like most of our movies are like that.
Yeah.
But this, like Con Air, is like non-stop action. It just follows Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's like 2 scenes where it goes to see what his daughter's up to, but essentially follows Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there's people getting killed from the start.
Yeah, it's true.
So it definitely keeps my interest the whole way.
Yeah, I do agree with you on most of those facts. Now that being said, I was entertained through the whole thing. I feel like I made a mistake in giving Anaconda such a high general experience rating. That's okay. That could change if it moves on, which I don't know if it will against Commando, because I'm actually going to give Commando a 4.1 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, because I genuinely did enjoy it as well, but it's not a marquee for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is like one that I watched when I was young.
Right.
With my family, and we've just watched it many times since then, and it's always been entertaining.
That's awesome.
So that gets a little bit extra points for me.
That's what you want in a movie. Yeah. Exactly. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to see who wins this battle bracket.
Absolutely, I do. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm gonna fall off if we don't.
Okay. Well, that concludes this episode. Just kidding.
What?
Okay.
No.
I'm kidding.
No.
So I'll start with. I guess we'll compare it. I gave Commando higher than Anaconda in actors. I gave Commando a 3.1 and gave Anaconda a 2.8. You gave Commando a 2.7 and Anaconda actors a 2.
Yeah.
Which that's a pretty brutal rating looking back on it.
I wasn't happy with the actors except for Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah, Owen Wilson. Okay. I think my screen is like the pixels are dying here, but I think it says 2.5 for plot for me on Anaconda. I gave Commando plot a 3.2. You gave them both a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah.
The Commando soundtrack obliterated Anaconda soundtrack.
Okay, that's accurate.
Which like 4.2 about versus 3.35 on average.
Okay.
So that's like 0.9 average above Anaconda. So that's a pretty big difference.
Which is fair.
Oh yeah, that Commando soundtrack, all one of its songs were just amazing.
Terrific.
Cinematography, unsurprisingly, Commando won.
Yeah.
And it actually has the highest score in cinematography of all the movies we've watched so far. But I think that's totally fair.
Totally deserved. Yeah.
Yeah, so we gave it like a 4.65 average. Cinematography of Anaconda was like a 3.65, which honestly, I'm surprised. I gave it a 4.3 for cinematography. I don't know why.
Holy moly.
So I don't know what happened there. Donnie, I gave it a 0.04, or Commando, I gave it a 0.04. You gave it a 0.17.
Yeah.
We both gave Anaconda 0.1s.
Okay.
Both pretty terrible,
Yeah.
but it's good because both of them were so low.
Yeah.
It didn't really take it away from the other.
That's good. That's good.
Costume design, I gave Commando 3 and Anaconda a 2. You gave Commando a 2.7 and Anaconda 2.3. So we both rated Commando higher.
Yeah.
And general experience, 4.8 for me for Commando versus a 3.5 for me for Anaconda. You gave Commando a 4.1, but you gave Anaconda a 4.7 for general experience. Which was higher than you gave Con Air, which was the one you picked to make it to the end.
Yeah,
so,
I love Con Air. You know, I've made a mistake with my rating on Anaconda, but we have to stick with it.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah.
But anyways, Commando definitely wrecked Anaconda.
Did it? That seems fair.
It was about a 3.21.
Okay.
Anaconda's like 2.69.
I feel like those are two very fair ratings of these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Though Commando was lower than Con Air and Doom. So it's the third highest right now.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's good where everything is so far.
I think it's good too. Like I think, you know, Commando is a movie that you want to watch if you're looking for a lot of action and a lot of fun. It's not really a cinematic masterpiece, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair rating for it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Definitely entertaining.
Okay. Well, I guess that means Commando wrecked Anaconda there, and so it'll be moving on to the next round of the battle bracket, right?
Yep. Doom and Commando, are they facing against each other next?
Yes.
Or not next episode, but like
later.
Next time they are featured.
Yeah, and I think what we need to do, so we're not just going through the same things. I think we need to compare and contrast the movies with some different categories that maybe we should brainstorm and think about, and we'll.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and then we can add those to the scores.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Do you want to take us away there, Michael? Do you want to do the?
Sure, I have nothing prepared to take us out of this, so I'm just gonna rant.
Okay, that's fair.
I want to thank everyone for listening, especially our one subscriber.
Woo!
You were first. So far, you are also the last. Hopefully, you won't be the last forever, but you're basically every position right now.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening. Hopefully, you'll listen to this one too. And remember to make that petition to get Steve Buscemi into the next Commando remake of a shot-for-shot remake.
Please do.
Anyways, so what's our next movie?
Our next movie. Let me take a quick look here. I have it on a list. I believe our next bracket is going to be bracket number 3, and it's actually going to be two movies that maybe aren't as popular as other ones we've done. It's The Green Inferno versus Dead Silence.
Yeah.
So the next one will be The Green Inferno, I believe.
Okay, yeah, so the next one's The Green Inferno. So stay tuned for that. It'll probably come sometime next week.
I believe that's an Eli Roth film. So.
Oh, yeah. So you know it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I will stop rambling on, and we need something to say to close it out.
In unison.
In unison, the last thing we say.
Right. How about we say in unison? Remember? How about we just say I lied?
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, now we should say the whole line.
The whole line? All right. This is going to be a disaster.
Okay.
Okay, what is
3. Remember when I said I promised to kill you last?
Okay.
I lied.
Remember when I said I promised to kill you last? I lied. Okay.
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 3, 2, 1.
Remember when I said I promised to kill you last? I lied.
I lied.
Oh. Oh. It's a disaster. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.